bruise. Morning came like a bruise, slow, aching, and heavy with the weight of everything unsaid. None of us mentioned Anton's eyes. None of us asked what he meant. We just pretended things were fine. We packed our bags again, even though we knew the trail was gone. We made instant coffee that tasted like burnt sadness. We kept glancing at the woods, pretending we didn't hear the faint sounds coming from between the trees, whispers, low hums, and once, laughter. Not ours. Later that day, we found the second mirror. It wasn't in the house. It was in the forest. Just there. Standing alone, leaning against a tree like someone had placed it there on purpose. It looked older than the one in the cellar. Its frame was cracked, and the surface was clouded with age and something darker, something sticky. "What is it with this place and mirrors?" Max muttered. Yulia was the first to notice. "There is something in it." We all leaned closer. This time there were no reflections, just foggy darkness. But faintly, very faintly, there were shapes inside, moving. And then a hand pressed against the other side of the glass. Not one of ours. Thin, pale, with blackened fingertips. And we saw it, a face behind the hand. Hollow-eyed, grinning. We staggered back. I tripped and fell into the moss. My heart was racing like it wanted out of my chest. When I looked again, the mirror was empty. Just a mirror. Just glass. But we knew better now. "We need to destroy it," I said. Anton didn't move. "No. We can't." "Why not?" Yulia snapped. "It's clearly wrong. We have to do something." He finally turned to face us. "Because it's not a window. It's a door." A pause. Lyra spoke, her voice trembling. "A door to what?" Anton looked at us, really looked at us, and for the first time in 2 days, I saw real fear in his eyes. "I don't think we're on the right side of it anymore." The wind picked up then. The trees swayed, and from somewhere behind us we heard a new sound. Footsteps. Coming closer. And not just one set. Many. They didn't run. They didn't charge. They just walked. Slowly. Deliberately. The way something walks when it knows there is nowhere for you to go. We grabbed our things. No discussion. No vote. We ran. But the forest didn't let us go far. Because the next time we looked up, the house was right in front of us again, and the door was wide open. Chapter 7, The Door. The house shouldn't have been there. We had run blindly, tearing through underbrush and branches, trying to escape the footsteps that never got closer, but never stopped either. And yet here it was, waiting. The front door, which we had never seen open before, now stood wide. The inside was pitch black, and the smell of damp rot drifted out like a breath. Lyra grabbed my arm. We didn't turn around. I swear we didn't. "I know," I whispered. "It doesn't matter anymore." Anton was already walking toward it. "Anton!" Yulia called, panic lacing her voice. "Stop! What are you doing?" He didn't stop. We rushed after him, but not too close. None of us wanted to be the first to cross the threshold. Anton paused just at the door, his back to us. "It wants me," he said calmly. "It always did." "What are you talking about?" Max shouted. "You are not making any sense." Anton turned his head slightly. "It called me before we came. In dreams. I didn't remember. Not until the cellar." He stepped inside. We hesitated. Then against every instinct I followed. The others came after me, one by one. Inside, the house was wrong again. It was the same structure, same rooms, but they had changed. The walls were darker, warped. The floorboards sagged like they were breathing. Every corner pulsed with a quiet, suffocating tension. The staircase creaked above us. The attic door hung open. Anton was standing in the middle of the living room. There was something in front of him. A mirror. Not the one from the cellar. Not the one from the forest. Another one. This one was clean. untouched. And in it I saw, not myself, something that looked like me almost. But its eyes were glassy, its smile too wide. It waved at me, then pointed. To me. "Don't," I said, my voice shaking. "Don't touch it, Anton." He didn't respond. His fingers brushed the surface of the mirror, and the glass rippled. Like water. A sound filled the room, then a low, resonant hum that made my bones ache. The mirror shimmered, and Anton changed. Just a flicker. A shift. His face went slack. His reflection in the mirror smiled wider. "I think it is too late," Max said, his voice barely audible. And he was right. Because Anton turned to us then, and the thing that looked back was not Anton. Chapter 8. Not Anton. At first, no one spoke. We just stared frozen as Anton looked at us with that blank, unreadable expression. Everything about him looked the same. But it wasn't. His stance was too still. His face too smooth. Even his eyes, they blinked, but too slowly. Too rhythmically. Like a program running a loop. Yulia took a step back. "That is not him." Lyra clutched my sleeve. "We need to leave." But where? The door behind us was gone. Not closed. Gone. Just wall where it used to be. Max raised the camera instinctively, more out of habit than bravery, and aimed it at Anton. The figure tilted its head and smiled. The mouth was wrong. Too slow. Too wide. Like the face was remembering how to move. It opened its mouth. At first, no sound came out. Then a voice. Broken. Layered. As if it had been stitched together from too many recordings. "I am still learning." We backed away. The mirror behind it shimmered again. Briefly, I saw flashes in the glass. Us running. Screaming. Dying. I blinked and it was gone. "Anton," I said, trying, hoping. "If you're still in there, I am not." The voice was clear this time. Calm. Anton's voice, but without any of his warmth. Like an echo that had forgotten the original. Max grabbed my shoulder. "We need to get out of this room. Now." We turned and ran. The hallway had changed again. It stretched on impossibly long with doors on either side, evenly spaced, all slightly ajar. Behind us we could hear footsteps. Calm. Steady. Coming closer. One door slammed shut behind us. Then another. Closer. "They are closing in," Yulia said. I grabbed the nearest doorknob and pushed inside. The room was normal. An old bedroom, dusty and cold. A broken bed frame, a shattered mirror on the dresser. No footsteps. No movement. We caught our breath. "What the hell was that thing?" Lyra whispered. "I think it is what happens when the house finishes with you," I said. Max rubbed his face. "We have to find a way to undo this. Or at least stop whatever that thing is." Yulia walked to the broken mirror. "What if the mirrors are the key?" "To what?" Max asked. "Either locking it in," she turned toward us, "or letting it out. None of us liked that second option." The floorboards creaked outside the room. A shadow passed under the door. Then silence. Lyra whispered, "Do you think it can hear us?" Max shook his head. "No. I think it remembers us." The doorknob began to turn. Chapter 9. The Room of Names. The doorknob turned slowly, not like someone in a rush, but someone savoring the moment. We backed away, weapons raised. Or at least what passed for weapons. Max had Stickless Cage again, and I held a rusty bedpost I had torn from the frame. The door opened a crack. And then nothing. No one came in. But something had changed. The air shifted. It smelled old. Like paper and ashes. Yulia moved first. She crossed the room and yanked the door wide. The hallway was gone. In its place was a library, or what used to be one. Shelves lined the walls, all bowing under the weight of damp, rotting books. The ceiling stretched impossibly high, and the only light came from a single flickering bulb that buzzed overhead like an angry insect. And then we saw the writing. Names. Hundreds, no thousands of names carved into the walls. Some were fresh. Others faded almost to nothing. Names in all languages. Some with dates. Some with messages. He came back, but he wasn't him. Don't say your name out loud. If you forget who you are, it takes you faster. I moved toward the nearest wall. My hand brushed one name that looked oddly familiar. It was mine. Not just my first name, my full name. Carved deep. Too deep for me to have ever done it. And below it, a single word etched in shaky strokes. Listening. My blood ran cold. Lyra, I said, turning. Check the walls. Do you see? I see it, she whispered. Her name was there too. All of ours were. Even Anton's. But his had been scratched out. Violently. Over and over. Until there was just a gouge where it used to be. Max backed into one of the shelves, knocking a book to the ground. It flopped open. Inside were pages filled not with words, but drawings, rough, frantic sketches of people with no faces. People staring into mirrors. People whispering into the ears of sleeping children. Yulia picked up another. The entire book was blank except for one word repeated endlessly, page after page. Remember. Suddenly the lights flickered, and from behind the shelves we heard footsteps again. But this time they were many. Dozens. Maybe more. Shuffling. Dragging. Coming toward us. Run, ? Max asked. Run, I agreed. We bolted down an aisle between shelves, the sounds behind us growing louder. The books began to fall on their own, slamming shut or bursting apart. Dust and mold filled the air like smoke. Ahead we saw a doorway. Light spilling out. Warm. Familiar? We ran through it and found ourselves back in the house's main hallway. Except, it was different again. There were mirrors on both sides now, floor to ceiling, each one showing something slightly wrong. In one, I was missing my eyes. In another, Max was bleeding from the mouth, smiling. In Lyra's, she was holding someone that looked like a child made of shadows. Yulia's mirror was blank. Empty. She stared at it, frozen. Yulia, I said, grabbing her arm. Don't look. But she wouldn't move. Then the mirrors began to hum. Low. Vibrating. Behind us, the shuffling footsteps returned. Ahead of us, the hallway narrowed, funneling into a single dark doorway. The house was choosing now. It was guiding us. Pushing us forward. Into whatever came next. Chapter 10. The Threshold. We stood at the edge of the narrowing hallway, the darkness ahead stretching like a throat. Behind us, the footsteps grew louder, no longer dragging, but marching in sync. The mirrors hummed with a rising tone as if tuned to our fear. None of us spoke. There was nothing left to say. We stepped forward. The doorway swallowed us in one breath. Inside was a room unlike the others. No dust. No rot. Just silence. The walls were smooth and black, like obsidian, reflecting our shapes but not our faces. There were no mirrors now. Just a single object in the center. A chair. And Anton was in it. His head tilted slightly, as if he had just been woken from a long dream. His eyes met mine. He looked like himself again. Don't believe it, Lyra whispered. It is not him. Anton smiled softly. Sadly. I am still here, he said. But not for long. Yulia stepped forward. What is this place? He looked around the room like it was familiar. A holding place. A crossroads. Or maybe a trap. I don't know anymore. You said we already left, I said. What does that mean? He turned his eyes to me. We crossed over. When we entered the house. Or maybe before. There's a point where time folds, where memory becomes a loop. That mirror in the cellar? It didn't show what was. It showed what would be. And what already was. Max frowned. That doesn't make sense. It's not supposed to. This place doesn't work like the world we came from. The floor beneath us pulsed just once. Anton flinched. It is waking up again, he said. It feeds on cycles. Fear. Memory. Identity. Then he looked at me. Only at me. You can break it. My mouth went dry. How? He nodded toward the walls. Give it something it doesn't want. Something it can't take from you. Yulia whispered, What does that mean? Lyra stared at me. You know, don't you? And I did. The house couldn't take what was given freely. It only devoured what it could steal. Names, memories, fear. But if I gave it everything, the truth, the memory, the pain, not in fear, not in panic, but by choice, it might be enough. So I stepped to the center. And I spoke. I told the house my name. My full name. My life. My regrets. My fears. My joy. My guilt. I gave it all. The room began to tremble. Cracks split the walls like lightning. The chair dissolved beneath Anton. The shadows screamed. And then, light. Blinding. Then black. I woke in the clearing. The morning sun filtered through the trees. Lyra was beside me asleep. So were Yulia and Max. Anton was gone. No cellar. No house. Just forest. The path back was visible now. Clear as day. We walked it in silence. We never spoke of what happened again. Not fully. But sometimes I dream. Not of the mirror. Of the chair. And Anton sitting in it, smiling. As if he finally understood. As if he chose too.